Good evening. Welcome to World Gun News. It is Thursday, 4th of May 2023. I am your host, Middle-Aged Brit, and this evening we'll be getting serious and addressing what appears to be the elephant in the room. Most often, and of course completely naturally, we only pay attention to what's going on in our own nations, or occasionally those of our neighbours. However, I have noticed a distinct pattern spreading across the globe. I will preface this by saying gun control is by definition not about guns. It's about control. History is replete with examples of nations giving up their guns to their government only to be slaughtered by the hundreds of thousands and millions. Coming from the UK, I can speak to this with some experience, having been a law-abiding gun owner at the time of the Dunblane massacre. If this is an event you are not au fait with, let me give you some background. On the 13th of March 1996, a man called Thomas Hamilton shot dead 16 pupils and one teacher at Dunblane Primary School near Stirling in Scotland. In the aftermath of this event, UK gun law was changed enormously, with handguns being moved entirely to the prohibited category. This was the only fatal school shooting in UK history. While there can be no doubt this was an awful occurrence, it is important to note two things. First, all the records surrounding this case have been sealed for 100 years. Call me a skeptic if you like, but I see no reason to seal records for this length of time unless you have something significant to hide from the public. This is something I have been researching for a while, but I don't want to give too much away right now. Second, this gave rise to the UK's only significant anti-gun group. Calling themselves the Gun Control Network, this group has been involved in parliamentary committee meetings, quangos and such like, and has been able to exert significant influence in this arena. The Gun Control Network operates in secrecy behind a PO box with no names given, and at best we believe there are less than 10 members. Why is such a small group being permitted and even encouraged to influence the laws and lives of millions of people? So now I've given you a little context for my own outlook, I can get back on track. There is clearly a concerted effort to impose gun control on a number of countries around the world. The past week alone has seen significant efforts or pressure applied in countries as diverse as New Zealand, Switzerland, Canada, Brazil, and Serbia, who, not unlike the UK, experienced their first school shooting just yesterday. Now, I don't want to sound like a tinfoil hatter. Of course, sometimes bad people get hold of guns and do bad things. Nonetheless, there is a clear move globally to crack down on legally owned firearms, especially in countries with governments who would consider themselves progressive or socialist. It is a lamentable truth that some people are criminal of mind and behaviour. Thus, the idea that changing the laws which are only followed by the law-abiding is going to stop criminal activity is asinine. It is also a sad truth that those who seek to restrict gun ownership or push gun control have a tendency to be completely disingenuous. I can easily point to a recent example in the UK, where a legally owned shotgun was used by a young man to kill 5 people in 2020. These are known as the Keyham shootings and were carried out by a deeply troubled young man who had a shotgun certificate. While this is a subject I will be covering in great detail in the near future. Suffice it to say that the inquest into the deaths found the entire situation to be a massive failing in law enforcement. This young man had his firearm confiscated by the police following an assault on two people, and yet had it returned to his possession just a few days before he committed the atrocious acts, despite clearly being of poor mental health, despite requests from his own mother not to return the weapon, despite a recent history of violent behaviour. This was, in every respect, a clear failing of existing law being applied properly by those entrusted to do so. The response, however, of the gun control network, the press, and even the judiciary was to suggest more gun reform. To all law-abiding gun owners who may be taking the time to listen to my ramblings, I would encourage you very much to be vigilant as to what is happening in the world. And on a broader front, one has to wonder, what is the objective? Is this push for gun control in so many places at the same time being coordinated globally in some way? I don't know. What I will say is when you get to my age, you start to believe less and less in coincidence. If the ideas I'm expressing here resonate with you, by all means drop a comment, as these are conversations we need to have. The more we can do to reach out to one another, the better, in my opinion. I cannot express this clearly enough. The vast majority of homicides committed with firearms are done so by people who should not have had a gun in the first place, such as convicted felons, people who stole guns or otherwise obtained them illegally, and who, by virtue of their actions, have made it quite clear they do not respect any law whatsoever. When politicians and pressure groups declare that it's the guns and wish to restrict access to guns for the law-abiding majority, they do so either from ignorance, conditioning, or an inherent desire to disarm the public. I urge all amongst you, be you a firearms enthusiast or the opposite, to treat such people and such attempts with extreme scepticism. We in the UK lost our right to bear arms some time ago. There is no doubt in my mind whatsoever that if the people of the United States lose their Second Amendment, and by virtue of that their right to bear arms, they will also inexorably lose their republic. I apologise for not being upbeat tonight and for droning on quite a lot on this subject, but it's something close to my heart and something I think we all need to pay attention to. Perhaps you're watching from a country I have not mentioned, and you have seen pushes for control there. If so, please let me know. I would like to investigate and find out what's going on. Now, I know I've waffled on more than enough for this evening, so I will bring this one to a close by saying thank you for coming along and listening for a while. As ever, if you like the content we're putting out, please do subscribe to the channel. It's incredibly helpful to us. Drop us a like, drop us a comment, and do get involved. My very best wishes to you, and as always, stay peaceful.